How is Salesforce helping nonprofit employees reach their retirement goals? That's what the Teachers Insurance and Annuity Association of America, aka TIAA, is all about. And Salesforce is trying to make their operations more efficient. I'm Carolyn Bathauer, joined by Kathy Lanning, Head of Financial Services Growth Strategies at Salesforce, and Simon Walsh, Head of CRM Retirement Solutions at TIAA. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Kathy, I'm going to start with you. You are always talking with customers, and how should financial services organizations approach AI from what you've talked to them about?
I would say one word is enthusiastically. When you look at how work is flowing through these banks and firms and carriers and brokers, it is ripe for modernization and transformation with AI. And so when we talk to clients, we talk a lot about a couple things. Be strategic. Think about the problem you need to solve with AI right now, but also create that big, bold vision and anchor it in your business goals. We'll talk a little bit about data readiness. Data is abundant, but where do you have confidence in your data? And then how do you set up the right governance, transparency, and auditability? We'll talk a lot about starting small so you have measurable results and you can iterate really quickly. But we then follow that with, hey, listen, don't get caught in a trap of just looking at small results. Think long-term, because AI can really transform how decisions are made, how experiences are created, and having that big picture view is really important.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because every customer I've talked to, they're all on a different part of that journey.
Yes.
But I love how you say still look forward. Like start, but look forward. So that's great advice. Simon, welcome. Can you briefly tell me about your role and then some of the challenges that you were facing that Salesforce is helping to solve, especially in regards to service?
Yeah, absolutely. So I run CRM for Retirement Solutions, the business at TIA, and basically my main job right now is building a new Salesforce platform for the whole company, for our sales teams, both B2B and B2C, but also for our service and operations teams as well, too. And, you know, honestly, the biggest challenge for us is just providing a much better customer experience, right? And that can be somebody that the sales team is talking to or somebody on the service side as well, too. And really looking at relatively simple things like real-time statuses on cases and then moving on to streamlining and automation. And then within that, where can we plug in AI?
Yeah, so making sure that your teams have the information that they need to service customers better. I think when we talk about customer service, it really fundamentally comes down to just having access to the right information at the right time to make that experience so much more seamless.
Right.
So let's talk about client experience then. It's an important part of your mission. We know this. Helping employees of nonprofit institutions achieve those retirement goals. So can you share a little bit more about that investment in AI and what are the drivers for that change?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, again, serving what TIA does really is sort of a sacred mission. I mean, we are serving those colleges and universities. The vast majority of those people are not professors. They're serving lunch and, you know, and taking out the trash and things like that. We absolutely, positively have to make sure that they have enough money through retirement, right? So, you know, on the service side, you know, currently when people call in, it can be scrolling through a long list of comments about what's the status on the service case. So we want to be able to, you know, have all of our service procedures serving up real-time statuses. You can track that. Once that's on there, we can look at streamlining, and we can start doing things, for example, like call wrap. It's a great use case for AI that currently can take a rep, you know, 4 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes to wrap up a call and do the summary. Now we can do that in 30 seconds. You have the human in the loop. They can look at what the, you know, what the model says is the summary. They can edit it, but it just gives them a lot more time to be responsive to the customer.
Yeah, and responsive, and then that interaction, right? Because you're really gaining that trust in those personal interactions.
Exactly.
But if you can spend those other 4 minutes and 4.5 minutes doing that, I can imagine. And plus, you've got a business with purpose, so you want to have that personal connection. So that's wonderful. And why is it so important to invest in AI right now for you all? And how do you envision that future as Salesforce helping you get to that next level?
Yeah, so, you know, again, I'll go back to that call summary. So the call summary is incredibly useful in the service context. It's incredibly useful in the sales context, right? So we can do a similar, you know, call summary, but we can also then pull out the next steps and put that in for the salesperson to be able to look at. We can also use that same basically the same process to say, okay, let's look at what our top sellers are doing and what are they doing with objection handling and so forth, and teach that to the folks who are struggling, right? We can do that in real-time coaching sessions, right? We can extract trends, right? When people are calling into our service groups, which competitors are they talking about? Which products are they talking about? We can, and then critically, we can do real-time alerts as well too, right? Is this call going south, right? We have a bunch of, like everybody in the B2B world, you have silent quitters, right? Somebody calls in, they have a bad experience, they're gone, right? But to have the manager know about that and say, hey, I'm going to get this real-time alert. I'm going to go listen to that call, and then I'm going to go coach the person and try to rectify the situation. That's massive.
That's incredible. It's just such a really good loop of information, feedback, and then the impact that it has on that customer
Real-time.
satisfaction. Yeah, that's incredible. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right, Kathy. Advice. Of all the customers that you talk to, if you can compile the advice you have for customers that are looking into AI and getting started, what would you share with them?
You know, I would think about adoption, really, because that's where you're going to get the value. And so when you think about adoption, you know, AI is one of the most quickly adopted platforms and technologies. First to get to 100 million users, fastest to get there, faster than mobile phones, faster than social media platforms. And so consumers, humans, we like things that make it easier, faster, smarter, better. But in a business context, right, in a regulated industry particularly, it's a little different. So there's more caution, more need for trust, more need for transparency, and obviously overarchingly compliance. And so what we're seeing with our customers and how I would think about it is twofold. For adoption, you know, include your associates with it. This is really around creating a new digital labor that works with humans and augments and assists them, right? So include them, have them design, think about the pain points they have in their jobs, and how can AI be part of what actually resolves those? Because that will drive adoption. And the other thing I see a lot of is around AI literacy. Yeah. So how can you have this like regular, not just one fine day, a regular drumbeat of education that builds people's know-how up over time? And by people, I mean associates, employees, but I also mean your legal teams, your internal audit teams, your compliance teams, because the more people understand, the more you're actually going to get adoption, but value faster. So
yeah, that's great. And it's the encouragement of using this as a tool to help you do your job well.
Yes.
I think that's excellent advice. So thank you both for being with us today. To learn more about Agentforce for financial services, scan the QR code on the screen or go to http://sfdc.co/fins-AI.